awkward angle, but I needed to set my camera down and I can't find my tripod anywhere. But I just got home a little while ago and I had a box on my front porch, and this is what was in it: an Airtex fuel pump. I was out of town the other day, I was on the internet, and I thought, hey, I know I need a fuel pump. I know it's on its way out. My car has had trouble starting probably about the last month. Not a huge deal and nothing that, you know, raised major red flags right away, but with the sound that what I thought was my fuel filter, I know it's my fuel pump, so I thought I might as well change it. There is gonna be some controversy on probably what I'm doing. Everyone has their own opinion. I have my method and way of doing things. It may not be the right way, but this is the way that I'm gonna do it. I don't think my sending unit, my fuel sending unit, I don't think anything's wrong with it. The more I looked up, can you use a used fuel sending unit with a new pump and vice versa? People had totally different opinions. People say, yes, why not? If there's nothing wrong with the fuel sending unit, why not? Other people said, oh, if you're replacing one part, you may as well replace the other, which is a good method of thinking. But I didn't necessarily want to spend like 250 bucks on this. So I got this for right around like 100 bucks. I can't remember, honestly. It was like right around $100. But what it is it's the fuel pump all by itself. Here is the actual fuel pump. It will go just like this in the car, and then the sending unit will go in this little area, and I'm gonna use the one that's on the car right now. I don't know when it's last been changed. For all I know, it could be as old as the car is. I don't think it would be, but I don't know. But again, not having any issues with it, not having any issues with my fuel gauge or anything like that, so I'm not gonna mess with it right now. I will if I have to, but I'm not gonna spend 250 bucks if this thing is still in working order. It's Airtex. I was looking around. I don't know if it's completely different from like the 325i versus the 325e and the 325es, but I saw different models for them, so I just went with one specific to my model. I've watched upteen jillion videos on how to do this. That's kind of what made me decide to just go ahead and order it. I thought I could tackle it. If I do end up having trouble with this alone, I will go ahead and buy the fuel sending unit. But like I said, as of right now, that is not the plan, and I'm not gonna do that, because if it works, then wonderful. Eventually down the road, I will replace the fuel sending unit, but not until I'm having evident trouble with it. I'm gonna be replacing that tomorrow. I say we, I mean I. So stick with me, and we are going to do that tomorrow. First thing I did was I disconnected the battery, just because anytime I'm messing with anything, I like to disconnect the battery just to be safe. I took the seat off last night just to get everything ready. There are two types of seats in E30s, one with little tabs like that right there, and then one I think that had bolts or something. Mine had the tabs, so I just had to pull up with a little bit of force, and it came right off, so I just put it up there. Next, this little carpeting right here, I went ahead and disconnected because it's right here, and I took that off to make it easier. And then you peel this back, and I'll put something there to keep it there, but then these had 4 screws in them, and I went ahead and took that off, and it comes right off. So I'm gonna get myself set up with that, and then we will get this party started. So after hopping in my back seat and pulling up that cover and noticing what kind of clamps were on the actual fuel pump, they were the opposite of what I thought they would be. I thought they'd be just kind of traditional clamps that you can unscrew, but they were not. I tried some just wire cutters that I had, they wouldn't work, so I had to end up getting these. This is what I had seen online that people use. I went to Ace Hardware to get them, and then I just went ahead and bought these clamps to replace the clamps, because once you cut them, they're unusable, obviously, because you're cutting them. When you cut them, it releases the pressure and you're able to pull it off. Okay, so first thing I'm gonna do, I went ahead and unhooked these. This went here, this went here. Just gonna kind of tuck them out of the way. So what I have to do is I'm gonna cut these. Okay, I just got this one off. That was super, super tough. I turned it as I was cutting, and I was really, really hoping I wasn't gonna cut the hose. I didn't. So just slide that off, and I'm gonna work on this one right now. I'll just show you kind of what I did. My fear is that if I clamp these while trying to cut them, it's just gonna cause more tension on this and end up slicing through the hose, but that wasn't the case on that one, so I'm gonna try it on this one. Okay, did the same thing. That was easy. Wish I would have done that to begin with. So we'll just take that off. Okay, so I obviously can't reuse these. Okay, so I got those off with a lot of prying. The hoses, I don't think this thing's been changed at all. So the hoses were on there. This one was easier to take off first because I could pull the hose. That one took a lot of wiggling. So what I ended up doing to get it off was these to kind of hold right here and keep that from moving. And I used a flathead screwdriver to push on the hose back. So not to where it was tearing or not to where it could even rip, but just to be able to have a grip on the hose. Next, I'm gonna take my 8mm socket and I'm gonna remove these. And what I kind of did just to keep the gas from coming out is I put some a shop towel in these. I'm sure you could get a bolt or something like that the size of the hose to put them in there, but that's kind of what I had by me, so I did that. But as you can see, a little bit spilt, obviously, when I disconnected it. Okay, so I just removed these bolts that were right here, or the nuts that were right here. They had washers underneath them, so be sure and take those off, don't lose them. And next, that's gonna give me the ability to take out the sensor. There we go. Looking back, I probably should have used all my gas, but it takes a long time for me to use gas, so we're just gonna let that do its thing for a sec. Okay, so I just got an old paint bucket that I'm probably not gonna use anymore. I don't even know why I had. And I kind of let this drip a little bit. Just set it in there to where it drip. And I'm gonna put that in there because I'm gonna reuse that. I'm gonna switch these out real quick. That thing's getting kind of full. These are nasty. There we go. Alright, so there's the old fuel pump. That looks old as crap. That is probably the age of the car. I'm gonna put this in that bucket because that'll just go in the trash. Oh, that's nasty. Stinks too. Brand new one. Let me show you a comparison real fast. New, old. Yeah. Alright, so what I'm gonna do is put this in exactly how I took it out a second ago. Okay, so the issue I was having when I put the fuel pump in and I was trying to put this little part in was, where is it? This little bit right here was getting stuck on one of the things that goes into the, in the fuel line, or the thing that goes in the hose. So I had to end up just hammering that right there, because it fit perfectly in the one that came with the car, but this aftermarket one, for some reason, it was getting stuck and it was hitting, which I'll show you here in a second after I get it back in. So like I said a second ago, this little piece right here was getting stuck on that. So I just kind of hammered it away a little bit and now it fits in perfect. Okay, I finally got this back in place. It was super hard because there are little, I don't even know what you would call it. There are pieces that line up and one of the pieces goes right in the other like that. And I had to be able to see it because if I'm twisting and I had no idea why I was twisting and I didn't know exactly what needed to line up with what. So I looked at the bottom of the fuel pump ring and then I looked at what was attached to the car and it kind of made more sense. My mind just could not wrap around that stuff. Okay, so I have some different clamps now. I don't know why I thought those were gonna work, but I did. Okay, so putting this back on. Okay, I got the hoses back in. That was a little tougher than I thought it was gonna be, so get these back in, clamp them down. So I just got the clamps back on. Now I'm going to put the sending unit back on, and then I should be just kind of wrapping this thing up. This took me a little longer than I thought just because I ran into some issues, like I didn't have a clamp that was big enough for this hose, which I thought I had gotten. And then also I did not have a tool, this tool that we used earlier, to take the original clamps off that you cannot reuse. Oh, and that was another issue I ran into, having to kind of nail down some of that excess, right, some of that excess metal that shouldn't have been there. Or I guess that, I don't know if this wasn't made whatever it was, this did not fit well with this. So I had to hammer some of that metal down so it wasn't in the way. Okay, I just put those 4 bolts back with the washers underneath, and I'm gonna connect this one now. Okay, so everything should be done. Everything should be good to go. It's all connected back. I'm going to reconnect the battery and start the car. I'm actually probably gonna put this cap back on just in case I didn't do something right and gas just like spews everywhere. But I'm gonna put this back on real fast, and then I am going to reconnect the battery and start the car. Okay, so while I'm putting this back on, I went ahead and just started my car. Started normal, but the real test is gonna be whenever I start it for the second time. That's usually whenever I would start hearing a problem. Okay, that's as good as that's gonna get right now. And I'm gonna see how it sounds. Okay, that started pretty good. Normally, whenever I start it the second time, it either tries like it's, or it sounds like it's trying to start and never does, and I have to stop and try again, or before that problem started occurring, that's exactly what it sounded like just now. So I'm gonna try it one more time. Yep, so I think the problem is solved for right now, the issue. Like I said, eventually I'm gonna have to replace the sending unit in the fuel pump, but it was still good. No issues with the sending unit, so I thought I would use that one. In fact, it did work. I saved myself some money right now, but I'm sure that'll come later on down the road.